64 Tacos Podcasts presents Is This Song Good? This is episode 4, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Stagger Lee.
So we've got another episode of Is This Song Good? It's a little podcast we started to determine whether a song is good or not, basically. We each pick a song each episode and listen to it, and the three of us discuss whether or not we think the song is good. Up for this episode, we've got this song Stagger Lee by Nick Cave.
I love the Nick Cage version.
No.
Oh, the bees! The bees!
And this was I was the one who picked this one. So what did you guys think of the song?
Well, I think I've heard this once or twice because I think you played it for me once or twice.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I thought it was great. I was reading a little bit about it was on an album called Murder Ballads, which was a bunch of random murder ballads and sort of like folk story songs that are passed down. This is one too. Obviously about, from the turn of the century, which is kind of a neat backdrop, and about 1 million people have done this song over the years, including like the Grateful Dead, I think. But I actually it really has that sort of like old feel, that sort of gravity, but at the same time it's like hyper aggressive in its sort of like lyrics and stuff, and also like the instrumentation. So it's kind of like it goes kind of over the top, but it really works with the subject matter. I really liked the sort of like aggressive, like string sounds, like the percussive string sounds throughout the whole riff, and then that like really cool outro, sort of like noise rock solo was really cool too. Mm-hmm. And in the middle is just Nick Cave doing like Nick Cave sort of sort of dark and angry, with a really dark and angry subject matter. So I thought it worked really, really well as a song.
Yeah, it's cool how the music it's got that loop going on. I don't know exactly what instrument it is, but it's what starts at the beginning. It's a percussive loop thing, and then it's just him doing the really overdriven piano. And I think it's just like two chords. It's just like chord and then chord. It's very simplistic, but it's so effective. And then you've got the bass. The bass is amazing.
Just this boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
boom,
it's got that
boom,
that sort of rolling thing that and it's all it's all repetitive, but that it's because like the focus is not necessarily that, it's really what he's talking about and telling the story, and it is very much a story driven song. And then it really gets to the end where it just kind of explodes and in the wall of sound. And yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot, and I don't think I have heard it before. And of course, there's some offensive stuff in there that I'm kind of like, well, can't really listen to this around my kids, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, this is definitely one that gets skipped when the kids are around. I mean, you've got murder, rape, all the good stuff. Plenty of swearing.
Yeah, lots of motherfucking,
Yeah.
Well, it's like that's perfect for the song though. Like it just takes it up to another level,
Yeah.
It leans into the obscenity, because the story is obscene in its violence.
Right. And there's no doubt that I don't ever want to meet Mr. Stagger Lee.
No.
In a bar or anywhere else for that matter.
No, definitely not. You don't mess with old Stag.
Yeah. But I will crank this song on my radio, on my car stereo when I'm driving down the road at 55 miles an hour.
Absolutely. No, it's when I first heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, this, like you said, the bass line is it's got that great grab, or just sucks you in. And then his storytelling. I didn't. Nick Cave was most popular, I think, in the 90s when we were growing up, but I didn't really get to him until the last 5-10 years. So going back and listening to all this stuff, his storytelling style is so good. Like that whole Murder Ballads album has got some incredible stories in it.
Yeah, and I was listening a little bit to a couple other songs on that album because the song is so good. And I thought it was really cool that he did a duet with PJ Harvey. I think they were dating or something at the time. But that's the perfect voice, to go with Nick Cave too.
Was that the Henry Lee one?
Yep.
That one's amazing. Then he's got a great one with Kylie Minogue, actually. Really? Also. I think that's on Murder Ballads.
I think it's is that one I Can't Get You Out of My Head? I think that's the one, right?
That's Kylie Minogue, yes. I don't think Nick Cave appears on that one though. No, it's Wild Rose or something like that. They call me the Wild Rose.
Yeah, I didn't listen to that one. I listened to a few, but it makes it like Nick Cave's one of those guys who's I've been aware of since the 90s.
Right.
But every time I hear a Nick Cave song, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. It's a very distinctive sort of thing when all the Bad Seeds stuff, I'm just like, yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay, cool. He's one of those good ones, but I never actually dug in and started listening to stuff. But
I started digging in over the last few years because there's just so much out there that he's written that is so good. A lot of it's troubling, like this song is, but his songwriting ability is top notch, even if it's not the most pleasant, if you will, thing to listen to. I agree. Yeah. So when we decided to do this podcast with Stagger Lee as a subject, I looked into the song a little more, and like you said, Dan, this song's been around for 100 years.
Yep.
And it's been covered. I think the first recording of it was like in 48, but it was an old folk song before that, and it's been 28 maybe.
I think that the actual murder happened right at the turn of the century, and I think the guy he was based on died in 1910 or something. But I guess it became sort of like a sort of like part of the one of those American folk stories kind of right away from just from briefly looking at the Wikipedia page. I'm not an expert on the song or the story or anything, but
I went through and made a playlist of all of those songs on the Wikipedia page, and it is incredible to see the progression from the old jazz 1920s stuff that this was first written to the more big band and stuff, and then into R&B and soul and blues and some country songs and some like you said, the Dead did it. Huey Lewis and the News had a cover of it, which was god awful, but and then more recently there's a Black Keys cover of it, and even a Samuel L. Jackson covers it.
Oh well, that makes sense. I mean,
I think it's the character from Black Snake Moan.
Oh yeah,
that's a great movie.
I don't think I've seen.
Yeah, well, if you, I mean, I'm sure you could find it also, but I have it on Blu-ray or DVD if you ever want to.
Right.
That's got some great music in it, just fantastic music.
Yeah, and like you think the Nick Cave version of it is dark. Listen to Samuel L. Jackson sing it.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the singing he did in the movie. I haven't listened to the soundtrack specifically, but man, I love watching that movie. I mean, it's a little bit sensationalist and stuff, but the music is just really enjoyable to listen to. Mm-hmm. And also spending a movie with Samuel L. Jackson's always good.
Right. But going through all this, I pared all the songs down to a 14-song playlist, and that's going to be this coming Friday night playlist. So if you want to check that out too.
Oh yeah, that'll be great.
That'll be coming up soon. but yeah, there were a lot of songs that were just, carbon copies of each other, just a new singer, that I picked my favorite one of of those. But yeah, there's a lot of different versions of it. And it's really cool. I still think Nick Cave's is my favorite, but that might just be because it's where I came into the story in the first place.
Yeah, and it's a sort of like a full-throated cover too. Like it's really like aggressive, and it has like so much attitude to it. Which suits the subject matter and his choices with the lyrics and how he retells the story.
Yeah,
it all works great. It's just it's kind of like a no-brainer. I don't mean like in a bad way. I just mean like it just works from the get-go, and you're like, yep. You're not even into the first verse. You're like, oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, and the story is just so interesting, and then his telling of it, and it's very different from obviously the original 1920s versions of it, because there's a more modern twist to it that would not have been acceptable in the old days. But
yeah, they didn't like the gays too much. Is that?
No, they didn't like that.
No,
you couldn't make a hero out of the gays.
Can't we get a little support for a nice murder rapist like Stagger Lee? I mean, now that our sensibility has changed, you can really get behind him as the hero of the story.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, so I think it's unanimous, but I feel like we should start voting on whether or not this song is good in these podcasts. I'm going to give it a yes. This song is good.
Yeah, same for me. That's a yes.
Yep, definitely.
All right. I think up next podcast, we have Dan's pick. What was the song that you picked again, Dan?
Pay Your Way in Pain by St. Vincent.
All right. So look for that one coming up soon. And look for the Friday night playlist with the Stagger Lee songs.
I caught it on audio.